Good afternoon, residents. I'm Don Infante, the president of the Regency Oaks Resident Organization. And this is our Friday forum. We have Brant, and we have all the directors here, and this is a good message day. We're moving into phase 2, which is the result of all the work that all the staff and Brant have done, and all of your work too. So a lot of good things are happening. Things are opening up. You know, we're having dining dish talks. We're having housekeeping talks, and a lot of good things are happening. So thank you for your support, and thank you for all you're doing. And let's get on with the good news.
Thank you, Don, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to our weekly forum meeting. This is Friday the 31st. And what we'd like to do today is spend a little time talking about phase 2. We are actually in day 5 of our phase 2 rollout, and I anticipate that things are going to start changing pretty rapidly from this point. You know, we got stuck in section 11 of phase 1, and we got stuck there for a little over a month and a half. And it was as much to do with what was happening in the broader society, in the county, the state, and the nation, as opposed to what was happening here at Regency Oaks. We've been very consistent and stable, and I hope that that continues, but our ability to move through these phases is conditional upon what's happening in the broader environment. So today we wanted to spend a little time giving you a glimpse of what you might expect over the next 30 to 45 days as Regency Oaks progresses through the various stages of the second phase of the reopening. So with that introduction, we will go directly to the boards.
Okay, this is the business community matrix that we use to move from phase to phase as we begin to reopen the community. And I want to call your attention to the first 2 boxes. There's a phase 1 with 11 different stages and phase 2 with 12 different stages. Now, we just moved from phase 1 to phase 2, and it shows the criteria below. There are really just 2 things that I want to point out because this will dictate how quickly we move through phase 2. In phase 1, the death peak by state, that's what they call the population matrix. It has to be stable for 14 consecutive days. And in order to move from phase 2 to phase 3, it has to be for 35 consecutive days at or below the benchmark. We're already in day 5 of phase 2, so it's 30 additional days if we continue to do as well as we're actually doing. The second thing that changes is that very bottom sentence. It's 0 active and pending resident cases in all levels of care. That's independent living, skilled nursing, and assisted living for 7 consecutive days. That's what we require to move from stage 1 to stage 2. And in order to move from stage 2 to phase 2 to phase 3, it has to be 0 active or pending cases for a 14-day period. And again, we're already in day 5. So you can see where we have the potential to move pretty rapidly through the stages of phase 2. Now, I will mention this only to the extent that when you get to phase 3, that is a full, complete rebound, and the community would open up across all departments and all service delivery centers. So this is the continuation, the second page of the overall summary conditions. Same thing, I'm going to point out the difference in order to move from phase 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. You can have no new employee cases for 14 days. We met that metrics. We moved to phase 2. In order to go to phase 3, we would have to have no new employee cases for 21 days. Notice in the middle of the page there on phase 2, the estimated length, if all goes well, is 4 to 6 weeks, which would put us into the last week of August or the middle of September if these numbers hold and we continue to watch a positive improvement. So here we are in phase 2, and the significant fact on this page is that our social gatherings have been upped from 10 people to 50 people. That's indoors with appropriate distancing and mask. Non-essential travel can resume, but that is talking about resident non-essential travel as opposed to community non-essential travel. So in looking at the guidelines for specific types of employers, visits to senior care facilities are still prohibited. Those are indoor visits. We are limiting our visitation to the exterior perimeter areas of the campus. Under phase 2, our gyms are still open with strict physical distancing and sanitation protocols. The tavern is not yet open because it is supporting dining operations during phase 2.
Good afternoon, Ricky Baca, Food and Beverage. Just a couple updates. All sit-down venues are open with limited seating up to 50% capacity for social distancing and staff masks, no buffets. The bars will remain closed. That phase 2 has 12 stages, and you can look forward to some of these things happening later on. No visitors and no self-service areas. We're going to be looking into turning the town hall into kind of what we did when the south dining room closed. You will not be served by servers, but there'll be servers behind a buffet serving the food to you folks. There'll be no changes to our to-go orders, but you can continue to come down and get your breakfast, and you can continue to come down and get your lunch through the tavern. Please continue to have the social distancing, and I've also gotten a lot of great feedback on the variety of fruits.
So one of the things that will also change is our marketing prospects and people who are coming in and considering Regency Oaks as their new home. We're lifting restrictions here as well, although it is, generally speaking, a little slower. On-site experiences in the marketing office will be limited to 4 individuals at any given time. With appropriate notice, we are beginning to allow on-site visits limited to the marketing offices or a common area disconnected from the residential areas of the community. We perform screening questionnaires 24 hours in advance of the meeting and require temperature checks at the door.
So I want to talk about visitors for a minute in the independent living. So the community has been COVID-free for 30 days, and we are setting aside interior space for families to visit with residents in the case of where the resident depends upon their family member to help them with paying bills, managing their checkbook, and other financial essential paperwork. So residents and visitors shall wear masks and follow the social distancing guidelines. We have set up the area in Brant's conference room table in his office. The space will be available in the evenings and on the weekends. We're requesting that the families come in wearing masks, of course, along with the residents. come in the north front entrance, go down the hallway behind the mailboxes and into Brandt's office. And that way they will not be in any of the common resident areas, and they can take care of their paperwork at that time. We are also opening up to have visitors, family members, visit with the residents in the outside perimeter areas. We are excluding the breezeway, the alfresco dining area, as well as the deck area.
Afternoon, Regency Oaks. For our small resident-led group activities, in Phase 2, we have our activities of 20 or less, but at Regency Oaks, because we've been doing such a phenomenal job of really holding tight in our community and doing our temperature checks, we have been granted the ability to make arrangements for different types of groups, including bingo and our Tuesday talk. So again, we thank you for your patience with that. Also, due to our diligence, our outdoor spaces has been given permission to have our entertainment in the evenings, as well as for our residents to enjoy their meals on the breezeway, as long as there's social distancing with more than 20 residents. We have opened our fitness center up for all residents to use at their leisure, as well as on Monday, we will have our pool instructor back on campus. We're happy to welcome her. We are limiting the group to 12 individuals in the pool. She does have 2 classes a week, so please be sure to join another one if the class is full. And please remember that the hot tubs are still closed due to social distancing.
Hello everyone, Jesse Rosalie with housekeeping. Just wanted to go over Phase 2 and what that looks like in our department. We continue to modify housekeeping, including vacuuming and dusting. Some services may expand on a community basis, and that's what we're currently working on for next month calendar. We encourage residents to leave or remain in another room if at all possible, and we highly encourage our residents to wear masks. They're actually required while the team member is in your apartment. We continue enhanced cleaning in assisted living and memory care and skilled nursing, and housekeeping resumes in assisted living and memory care, but it is based on resident need. Now we are trying to spend about 20 to 30 minutes in the apartment. The goal is to accomplish as much as possible with less time in your apartment. And we appreciate your patience during this time.
Good afternoon. Sherry Schweitzo, Director of Financial Services. I wanted to go over our protocols for packages being delivered to the community. Once you receive that notification, we encourage you to come down and pick up the packages as soon as possible. We highly recommend that you sanitize the packages upon delivery to your apartment. What that entails is wiping them down on the outside. If you put them on your counter and you unpack the box, please wipe down the counter after you have emptied the box. Please discard it. And please always wash your hands after touching any items that you've brought home from either shopping or packages being delivered to your apartment. In regards to work orders placed for your apartment, please know that during Phase 1, we completed only essential work orders, and we encourage residents to leave or remain in another room. However, currently we are in Phase 2, and what we've added to the preventative maintenance is for your HVAC services. Again, we encourage you to please leave the apartment or remain in another room for your safety. It will not be until at least another 30 days where we go into Phase 3, and that is where we plan on resuming all non-essential work orders in your apartment. We thank you for your patience and look forward to Phase 3 in another 30 days at least.
Hi, this is Leslie Haas, Resident Services Director. We are still continuing to do our resident assessments for our prospects, that is virtual and in person. And we continue to ask residents to, And we still continue to have residents wearing masks in all common areas. That's your hallways as well as the lobbies whenever you are walking about on the community. We still continue to do our wellness checks for our residents on the COVID quarantine and isolation list. And if you are ever experiencing any COVID-19 like symptoms, please let us know by calling the front desk or reaching out to the wellness nurse so we can come and do a wellness check.
I wanted to mention that for transportation in phase 2, we will pick up our transportation to non-essential medical appointments, which includes eye exams, dentist appointments. But I want to point out for grocery shopping, we will continue the way that we have gone through one-on-one shopping with the transportation team, where you schedule your list to be picked up by someone on the staff. I want to mention that we also are still continuing to sanitize hard surfaces of the vehicle in between each appointment that we have each day. Thank you.
Okay, I hope you found that informative and an opportunity to take a look at what the future holds. The one thing that I do want to go back and emphasize is you are looking at all the things that will be happening in phase 2. Phase 2 is 12 stages. We are in day 5, stage 1 of phase 2. So there are 11 different stages yet for us to go through. So these will be rolling out, not all during stage 1 of phase 2, but over the next 11 stages. So as that happens and things change, look for us to provide you with an update every second Wednesday with the changes that will be in effect for that week going forward. So there will be one that is due this week. It won't be out until next Wednesday, and that will have the updates that you can expect. So thank you very much for being with us on this journey. We would not be able to do it without the strong support and cooperation of our residents. I know a lot of this is inconvenient and it's not fun, but we are so appreciative of your solid support, your understanding, and the patience that you have shown us as we've worked to keep all the residents safe and move through this virus. Don, I'll turn it back to you for closing comment.
Thank you, Brad. And thanks to all the directors for the update. A lot of new information here. So what I encourage the residents to do, don't forget, Brad has Tuesday Talk. Come to Tuesday Talk. It's a great place to receive information. Jesse on Wednesdays has housekeeping talk. We had 10 people there last Wednesday, and it was an outstanding session. On Thursday, Ricky and Phil have the dining dish talks again. So there's things going on during the week that you should get out to, because things are going to be changing as we move through the various phases. So if you have questions, come to those, and if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask any one of the board of director members or myself, and of course Brant and the director staff. So I want to thank Brant. I want to thank the directors for all it is, and keep your questions coming, and we're making progress. And I thank you all for your support.